Good evening, everybody. Am I audible? Can someone confirm? Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. We are extremely happy to welcome you all to yet another exciting session of the Faculty Development Program series. To formally invite to officially start the program, I would now like to request my colleague, Ms. Debashmita Sarkar, to introduce the speaker to the audience.
Thank you, Archana ma'am. Welcome all of you here. Today we have Professor Partho Sarathy.
Debashmita ma'am, the mic.
Am I audible now?
No, you're not.
Not audible.
But I think she is audible. I can hear her very clearly.
Sorry, we seem to have a tiny technical glitch.
Okay,
we will fix it.
Without further ado, let me introduce Professor Partho Sarathy Bhomik. Dr.
No, ma'am. Is it just me, or is she audible?
Yes, ma'am, she is audible.
Okay, then it's
yes.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, then Dr. Partho Sarathy Bhomik is a professor in the Department of Comparative Literature, Jadavpur University, Kolkata, where he has been teaching since 2007. He was a visiting professor at Tokyo University of Foreign Studies from 2021 to 2023. Dr. Bhomik is the recipient of international fellowships, including Charles Wallace and British Library Chevening Fellowship. His major publications include Bengalis in Burma, A Colonial Encounter. Time period is 1886 to 1948. This one is published by Routledge in the year 2021. And there is this Thomas Matchell's journal, Thomas Matchell and Indigo Planters Every Day. He translated into in Bengali and published by Ananda Publishers. He has many other books and publications. He has also experience in Okay, so Dr. Bhomik has curated an online archive at the British Library on nationalism and partition in South Asia with a focus on Bengal. The years are from 1900 to 1950. He has also leading major research projects funded by RUSA, UGC, and CAS, including the digitization and digitization, the work of Jibonananda Das, and the creation of a digital sound archive of Kolkata. Now, I would like to ask Partho Sarathy Bhomik sir to start today's session. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Debashmita Sarkar, for your kind and generous introduction. It was quite a long introduction. I didn't expect such a long introduction. Anyway, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to extend my thanks to the Department of English, Sri Ramaswamy Memorial University, Sikkim, for kindly inviting me to such an exciting academic event. I also thank the head of the department, Dr. Tanushree Sarkar, for your kind communications and necessary guidance in this regard. I thank all the teachers, the organizers of the department, and also the other teacher participants who have joined this session to listen my deliberations. I know this is, at the end of a day's work. So I highly appreciate your gesture, and it means a lot to me. So today, my topic of deliberation is, of course, data mining, literary data mining more specifically. And I have put it in rather a very figurative way through my very fanciful title. So I just like to present my slide to give you the idea of my fanciful title. Is it okay and big enough to read?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, all right. So the title, as you find here flashing on your screen, is Looking Through the Text, Analyzing the Literary Quantitatively. In fact, I fancied that I put two oxymorons in this title. One is looking through the text. Of course, texts are meant to be read, and we never encourage people only to look at the text or look through the text. And secondly, literary quantitatively. So these are, I think, oxymorons. What is literary? How can it be quantified? And what is quantified? How can it be literary? So I just tried to put them together. Um, at the same time, I understand that you have already gone through quite a few number of sessions on digital humanities and data mining, I found from your schedule. So I don't think I will add anything new conceptually to what you already know about data mining. But I'll try here is, you know, to approach this area from the perspective of a literature teacher like me, who has been, teaching literary text in certain ways for so many years, teaching my students to read them using the tools that I am familiar with. So I am trained in certain ways to read literature, to teach literature, and suddenly I encountered this huge concept called data mining. And to tell you the truth, that it's no wonder that data mining came to me primarily as a shock, as a threat. Should I, after so many years of my training and my engagement with literature and you know critical approaches to literature, should I lay down my tools that I'm familiar with, only to embrace something strange, a stranger? uh, Something completely different. So should I go for new tools, which I am not much accustomed with? So most importantly, what troubles me is that all these new things, will they change my entire perception of literature, change my approaches to literary studies, and in extension, literature itself? Will I be at ease at this kind of empirical or numerical inquiries about literary texts? We, particularly who are engaged with literature studies, we're not very much fond of empirical studies, graphs, charts, numbers, stats. So we carefully kept them away from our study, but now they are trying to, make their inroads in our study. So I am anxious, and I'm sure that, like me, many of you are anxious, and you may feel in the same way. So the point is, the question comes at the end, that can literature be reduced to data? That is mere data. So that's the question. Uh, so can literature be mere data? Um, this is a very unlike quotation, and this comes from Swinburne. And you may wonder, why Swinburne here? I'm talking about digital humanities and data mining. And during the time of Swinburne, there was nothing called digital or all these technologies. But this quotation that Swinburne wrote, it came at a particular situation, and that situation is comparable to our situation. That situation was that a society called New Shakespeare Society. I have written the name, that's the New Shakespeare Society, but don't take it otherwise. I have not made any typographical error in writing Shakespeare. This is how the New Shakespeare Society spell the word. Once again, in order to attract some attention of the multitudes of Shakespeare in there. So New Shakespeare Society, they actually tried to approach Shakespeare enumerative way, uh, counting the numbers and phrases in order to find some kind of chronology of plays, the analysis of his poems, and all of his works. So that was something disturbed people like Swinburne. And he said that this kind of approaches would not reach us to, would not take us to Shakespeare. In fact, all these enumerical approaches would ultimately hide the beauty. The charts, the tree diagrams would actually, obliterate and probably hide the beauty of a forest. So I remember from my own experiences during my university days, one of my professors, while talking about critical appreciation of poems that we often do in our classrooms, he said that, I remember his words, he said that in order to, anatomize a poem, you need to dissect the poem. And in order to dissect the poem, you need to kill it first. So that means if you want to critically approach a poem and analyze it, then first thing you will do, you will kill the poem. A poem is what it is. A poem is a poem and nothing else. So what I reckon, what my experiences so far have been telling me, that literature is, irredeemably broken, it's messy, it's flawed, it's discontinuous, and probably imperfect. And so literature cannot be approached, cannot be analyzed by very accurate, say, infallible machines. Literature can only be understood, analyzed, and approached by humans who are equally messy, who are equally imperfect, who are equally broken, flawed. And in fact, this messiness of literature, which we often, delightfully say that the mystery of literature is its beauty, its messiness, its humanness. So the insight in literature is, something handmade. It cannot be machine made. So whenever we approach literature algorithmically, we try to do algorithmic analysis of literature. What we do, we remove the distinctions which are there in literature. We remove its taste, we remove its history of its reception, we remove all its refinements, its subtleties. So these are true, of course. And whenever I try to approach digital humanities, all these ideas trouble me before jumping into these numerical things. One may ask, of course, the question which is there always already, that then what's the urge? Why should we take up this strange thing? Why should we resort all our thousands years of training in humanities and literature into the hands of technology? We shouldn't. But when we think that our situation is not the situation that our forerunners witnessed, our situation is a very unique and typical situation where we are continuously bombarded with texts and so many texts. There's an abundance of text, almost an explosion of texts that we are now living with. We are now, every literature department has to cope up with this, explosion of text, proliferation of texts. So if you just have, think about the number of tweets now, X per seconds, it's almost around 6,000 tweets per seconds are being made. There are 7.5 million blog posts every day. And 90% of all data created by human civilization are all done in the last 2 years. So that's the point. Now, while I was doing research, and probably that was the scenario of old research, that we always thought of the scarcity of materials. We have thought of we always put the objective of research. One of the objectives was to retrieve text. That was the objective right from the time of Renaissance when humanities emerged, the retrieving of text. But now the problem is not retrieving text. Now the problem is not the rarity of text. The problem is the abundance of text. Scarcity is no longer a problem. The abundance is the problem. So how to deal with such an explosion of text? Is it humanly possible? The answer is quite clear and loud. It's no. We cannot read all these texts. We cannot follow all these texts. So we need, whether we want it or not, we need, the the help of the machines. And secondly, uh, one of the things that I have come across from Franco Moretti, probably you are quite familiar with this person, Franco Moretti, and his idea of distant reading as opposed to, or as a kind of substitute to close reading. So he also, pointed out the very limitations of our own complacency as a literature student, as a literature teacher, or as literature departments. Franco Moretti, he was talking about the 19th century British novels, British fiction. And of course, we teach British fiction of the 19th century, we teach Victorian novels, and so on and so forth. And from those studies of Victorian novels and 19th century British fictions, we arrive at certain conclusions. We, pass on our judgments about the very stylistics of that age, the very notions, the socio-cultural perspectives, the settings of that age. Just reading the novels, fictions produced in the 19th century. But the question is, how many fictions and novels we read in order to comment over, say, 19th century Britain or 19th century British fiction? How many books we have read? How many novels we have gone through? That's a very uneasy question for us. Say, we may read 200 novels, but Franco Moretti said that at least, say, it is this 200 is at least 30,000 novels were written during the 19th century Britain. So out of 30,000 novels, at best we can read 200 novels, which is less than 1% of the total novels produced in that time. So if you ask me to read all the novels, say if someone reads 2 hours per day, so that would take 205 years to read all the novels. So that is not possible. So I should say all our studies in this regard have certain kind of critical myopia, a kind of tunnel view that we have chosen very few, and we ascribe them a kind of canonical status. And this is a kind of limited zone of canons. And then we make all the comments, value judgments, and we arrive at certain kind of conclusions. So, but this scenario of plenitude, that promises to move literary criticism from, say, beyond this strictly delimited canon. So the paradigm shift is happening. Paradigm shift is happening. So since we have lots of texts around, I'm not talking only about electronic texts, there are physical texts. So lots of texts are around. There are, archives of sleeping giants are there. And the literary corpus is gradually becoming too heavy for us, for the literature departments to deal with. So what we could say that before passing any conclusion over any period or over any trend, probably it is safer to show rather than to tell. So the paradigm is shifting from telling to showing. And that's why visualization is increasingly becoming more and more important in the domain of digital humanities. Uh, Moreover, uh, uh, well, and at the same time, I'd like to say that canonical status has already been challenged, and from your experiences too, I think that you know that how many non-canonical texts you have already put into your syllabus or are planning to put into your syllabus, not only canonical texts. And some universities in the world, they are, you know, what should I say, uh, they're taking off some of the very important canonical texts out of their syllabus. So these things are happening. At the same time, this non-canonical text would be very, very important. So in Jadavpur University, with a collaboration of British Library, Endangered Archive Project, we have digitized quite a big corpus of bazaar books. Bazaar books means the books which you often find sold by the hawkers on railway platforms or on board the train. So all those ephemera, short-lived books are being digitized and made into a big corpus. And I'm sure that in recent future, these books may come into the very curriculum of literary study. So we are less fixated on privileged canons, and our syllabus will definitely include great unread. Uh, so, but at the same time, I don't want to enter into this fray anymore, because that would eat away my time. Uh, Okay, straight away I'm coming to dealing data and what frequency and occurrences. So we have tools available, uh, and using those tools, we can look through the text in a different way, which we haven't done before, or our forefathers haven't done before. And we can compress, we can condense, we can deform, we can analyze text, we can do all kinds of violence over the text, and we can go beyond what is there to unravel certain secret, quote unquote secret, which are there. Uh, in this regard, I have used an allegory that we literature students, while reading textbooks, we are always in search of certain gold nuggets, uh, just like all those gold rush time in the Wild West. There are lots of movies about that. That using certain kind of pans to strain out gold nuggets out of the rivers. But suddenly, imagine that you have discovered in you a divine power to see all the nuggets lying in the river waters. And not only that, you now know uh, how the nuggets are arranged, how nuggets are flown in the stream. And in short, all the nuggets are under your control, are under your grasp. Then will you not throw away your pants, considering their littleness very ridiculous? Right. So I have a plan to show you, to share with you some of the results that I have derived after applying some of the data mining tools. And I have applied those data mining tools, and I would encourage you to um, do it in your own hands uh, using those tools, and see what result we can have. So first, I share a particular result. The tool is a kind of word frequency tool. I applied on two canonical texts. One is A Passage to India, and the other one is Pride and Prejudice. I'm sure that these are the two texts which are very, very familiar in the syllabi of any English literature department in our country, particularly, if not in the world. So this is the result. For example, A Passage to India, it has 101,466 words. Pride and Prejudice has around 122,000 words. And in Passage to India, number of unique words, 9,179. And all other words are just repetitions. An average words per sentence is 14.3, and the word density is 0.090. So that means the unique words divided by the total words. The list is nothing surprising, and you may wonder why I have put it here. Because probably the same result, we'll find the same result in any text. If you feed them into some word frequency tool, they will give almost the same result, that D is the most used word in any English text, and followed by all these words. So actually these tables do not give me any important information, of course, but you are always invited to make your own conclusion out of these tables. These are the most frequently used words in any text: the, a, he, it, in. So nothing surprising about it. We call it stop words. So stop words would not give us any kind of inroads in the text. So when we do this kind of word frequency check, we generally eliminate. We adjust the tool in such a way that would eliminate all these stop words. But of course, these tables mean nothing. But probably some of you must have noticed that some interesting facts about these tables. For example, he, this masculine pronoun, occupies the 5th position in A Passage to India, but the 5th position for Pride and Prejudice is occupied by a feminine word, that is her. So secondly, all the pronouns in Passage to India are masculine. I'm leaving out this ambivalent I and you. But in Pride and Prejudice, most frequented pronouns are feminine. So this may give us some idea about the distinction between these two texts. So moving from here, if we eliminate these stop words, and if we use the most frequented words after eliminating stop words, and put them in such a visualization where the most frequented word would appear bigger, then what would be the result? I have used the tool which you may try yourself, is the Voyant tool, which is very popular tool. I have shown its URL here. So using the same tool on the same text, it looks like this. I have taken 75 most frequent words in API, and so you may see that the most frequented word in API is said. So this said means there must be description, dialogue, and there must be narration as well. So that would give us certain kind of hint at the narrative structure. But where is India? It's all about India, isn't it? Passage to India. Where is India? India, in fact, I have listed its frequency, and there I found that India occupies the 14th position. And there are 151 instances of India here. Is this slide visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So India, that is, which ranks 14th, and which is preceded by the word little, which occupies 13th rank. But what immediately follows India is a big surprise for me, which is O. So when I first found this word this is called Wordle or word cloud. So when I found this word O as the 15th most frequent word in this novel, so that was in fact my reaction. Oh, so how O can occupy such an important point in this novel? Have we ever, those who have gone through this novel, have we ever thought of this word O uh, would occur in this novel so frequently as if it's an important word? So that is something that puzzled me, in fact, and I chased this word. Okay, before that, I also want to say that there are other frequent words like Mr., Mrs., Miss. So probably they reveal a kind of formal environment, not very unusual in a colonial space. And don't is another, is the 10th most frequent occurring word, don't, a kind of imperative, indicating some order, some kind of subordination, some kind of play of power. Similarly, the preponderance of think, thought, failed, that would suggest some sort of tentativeness, probably. Okay, coming back to my favorite word here. Oh, I have chased this word. And there, uh, using the same tool, I chased its distribution along the length of the novel. If we divide the novel into 10 equal parts, then the occurrence of O in all these 10 different parts comes like this graph. And you could see that this O gradually diminishes, and probably the primary euphoria, excitement, this interjection, of course, tells us some kind of excitement, surprise, is gradually subsiding and gradually becoming invisible in the later part of this novel. So I am not coming at any kind of conclusion. But there are, some there are ample scope to have your own conclusion, to read this data, this graph, this kind of stat in your own ways. But uh, but this is a new kind of look at the book, at the text, which we haven't done before. So this is a kind of strange thing happened, and text is being defamiliarized for us. The automatic text is being defamiliarized in this way, a new kind of quote unquote reading of the text. So with this kind of ambition, I also approached one of my favorite texts, and I think many of you find this text favorite. That is our own text, Rabindranath Tagore's Gitanjali. So Gitanjali, of course, in English, Gitanjali is a translation done by Rabindranath Tagore. And there is Bangla original Gitanjali. And those who have access to both these Gitanjalis, one is Bangla and English, I often find them, commenting, of course, in private, that Tagore's translation of Gitanjali is in want of some quality. It is not as good as the original one. Of course, no translation is given that kind of credit, whether it is true or false, that every translation is inferior to the original translation. But what the people say, that Tagore's English Gitanjali doesn't do justice to Gitanjali. So probably some even suggest that Tagore's Gitanjali should have been done by some expert translator. Tagore should have given this to some expert translator. Why not some other person more capable of translating from Bangla to English? Then because Tagore was not a translator. So having this in mind, I was a little bit curious about Tagore's Gitanjali, particularly the English Gitanjali, and I applied to the to find the structure, the syntax of Tagore's Gitanjali using the same Voyant tool. What I find is a word tree here. So this is the entire Gitanjali given in a structural form. And I have chosen a particular word to begin my structural approach to Gitanjali. That is thou, because thou is a very frequently used word in Tagore's Gitanjali. And this tree, branched out tree, would give us the very idea that if Tagore writes thou, that in most of the cases in Tagore's Gitanjali, thou will be followed by hast or art or didst. So thou hast. And if Tagore writes thou hast, then the propensity would be more towards made. And if he writes made, then there is high chance that made would be followed by me. So this is a tendency that I discovered in Tagore's Gitanjali, English Gitanjali, the very syntactical tendency. That actually it was a kind of wonder to me that it renders the text a little bit I mean it renders the text a less flexible, a bit rigid, a bit mechanical, and this tree shows that it is mechanical. But surprisingly, if you think of Tagore's Bangla Gitanjali, you'd never find this kind of static structure. Amare tumi oshesh korecho. So this kind of syntax is variously used in Bangla, not in this all these probable ways, as if one can predict what Tagore would have written in English, as if you had been there while Tagore was writing, you could have dictated him that you write this way. So this is it exposes this kind of structure. So from there, what I want to say, there are lots and lots of tools available, and lots of tools available now, and you can use any of them. Just to give you an idea, I would refer to this website, Tahor Text Analysis Portal for Research. This is a free website. You can use quite a number of tools here. And here you can see every dot is a tool. Every colored dot is a tool. And the color, the shade is given to indicate a particular genre of the tool, what kind of, the group of the tools. So there are 1,719 tools. So you can use this tool and feed your text in order to find some surprising results. But if there be no surprising results, don't be disheartened. You at least can see the text from a different perspective. That is what is needed for us, particularly for the literature teachers. We need to familiarize ourselves to a new kind of look into the text, to new kind of quote unquote reading of the text. So from here, I'd like to move on to big data case. So far, I have been talking about single text or two texts, comparing them and finding things out of them. But what's about the big data where there are lots and lots of text? In this regard, I'd like to refer to two projects, both by Google. One is Google Books, and I'm sure that all of you are familiar with. Google Books is the biggest repository of texts, and it is becoming bigger and bigger every day. It was launched in 2004, initially as Google Print in the Frankfurt Book Fair. And there, Google made a very ambitious announcement saying that they are to digitize all the books in the world. That's not only English books, all the books in the world, which they estimated at the time to be 130 million unique titles. So they are to digitize all the books, all the scholarships of human beings. And in 2019, they digitized 40 million titles from over 100 countries in 400 plus languages. So it's quite a big corpus of texts. And then in 2010, they introduced a very interesting specialized search engine and collation engine, which is called Google Ngram Viewer. So I have Google Ngram Viewer. If you just Google it, Google Ngram Viewer, so you may find the tool, and you can work with it. So an Ngram in this context is a phrase that N means the number of words. For example, Google is 1 gram, or Google Books Ngram Viewer is a 4 gram. So treating the Google Books archives not as an electronic library, but as a linguistic corpus. So this Ngram, Google Ngram, performs something simple but immensely powerful when you provide it with a phrase of up to 5 words and a data range of quite a few years. So it produces a graph, charts, and all those necessary data, usage frequency of that phrase over time. So I tried my own hand, and I chose 3 words of my interest. These 3 words we often deal in our critical discourses, in our literary studies. So I wanted to check these 3 words, and these 3 words are nation, nationalism, and patriotism. So these are the very favorite words of us, and I used Google Ngram uh, to uh, to find out these words, their occurrences. So in fact, I wanted to trace this frequency of their occurrences over a period starting from 1800 to 2020. So within few seconds, I am traveling this 220 years, 220 years, and I have pitted them, these 3 critical terms, against 2 corpora. You could see one is the English corpus, the entire English corpus, all the books written in English, and second, a specialized corpus, that is English fiction. That is the corpus of English fiction. So have a look at this graph. The red one is nation, the blue one is nationalism, and the green one is patriotism. So it starts from here, 1800, and it ends here, 22. And this graph shows their relative occurrences over this long time period. So what I myself discern, and probably you too can have your own reading of these graphs. So what I find that nationalism as a term is not much popular for both the corpora. That is for English corpus and also for English fiction corpus. Nationalism is not very popular idea, probably signifying its late coinage, its late implications. So that's why the graph almost remains invisible for nationalism in the early years. Secondly, patriotism, I think, which is the most interesting word in this graphical representations. Patriotism is uh, is a word making very interesting journey. At the earlier phase, say from 1820 to 1870, its frequency outnumbered nation and nationalism. So there are lots of talking about patriotism. In fiction, patriotism could keep its reign in even longer time, right from 1800 to 1930, and then continued to fall. In the post-World War time, I noticed that nation begins to surge up, dominating over patriotism and nationalism comprehensively. So you may choose your own words and apply those words on Google Ngram. Say you can choose colonialism, imperialism, and whatnot. So this is a kind of quantitative, verification of qualitative conclusion. So my time is almost up, so I stop here, but I'm sure you have plenty of reasons to disagree with me. You may contradict me, contradict my claims, and you are most welcome to contradict my claims. You may straight away say on my face that what you are arriving at is already known to us. What's new about this? Who doesn't know that the gender biases or stereotypes in Pride and Prejudice or in A Passage to India? How could you conclude by merely counting words? Even there too, what about the homonyms? So words are used in many ways and with many meanings. There are homonyms as well. Moreover, words meaning is never static, and it also depends on its context. It depends on the other words it keeps. We often say that a man is known by the company he keeps, and that is true for word. The word is known by the company it keeps, the company of other words. So how could you extricate it from its own context or own environment, and just like a man, and pass your judgment? So what's about that? So of course all these questions are there, and I may try to give some answers, but not now, because I have probably another session on Saturday, and I would take up these questions, or rather, I would try to approach to these kinds of discomfort tentatively. Of course, there are not many answers to them. Still, it is a fledgling phase. Still, it is evolving, and probably it is exactly not the time when we can be very much satisfied with all our answers and replies. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor, for this very thoughtfully prepared presentation. I would now like our participants to put across their questions to the speaker, if any. Like always, you can share your questions in the comment section in the chat box, or you can feel free to turn on your videos and ask the questions yourself. Which identifies, what is this? Somebody has asked if you could share the link of the tool that you are using, sir.
All right. So
Which identifies stop words that you're using, if there is a link. If there are any questions,
yes, I'm.
very good. Yeah.
So this is the link for Voyant tool. This is a very easy tool, almost a plug and play tool. You just feed the text and you get instant result. Right. So that's a very exciting tool. And I would encourage you in my next session, please try this tool. And if you have some result, please discuss it among ourselves. So that would be fun. And if you just forget about arriving at some critical conclusion, just play with the words, play with the text, and have fun. Just take it as a game so that we can inculcate a habit of dealing with the text in a different way. Let's be habituated with that first.
That's wonderful, sir. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for gracefully sharing it with us. If there is any questions from the participants, we would like to take it now. Any questions at all? All right, if I don't have any questions right away for Professor Parthasarathy, maybe in the following session, sir, they would come up with, and like you said, they would probably practice with the tool and they would get back to us. Yeah.
Okay, thank you all for your patient hearing. I know that charts and graphs, they are not very attractive things, but this is the way the digital humanities works
Yes,
today.
sir.
Thank you very much for your
Sir,
patience.
on behalf of the Department of English and the organizing committee and the management of SRM University Sikkim, we would like to thank you wholeheartedly for all the effort and time that you had put in to be with us here in this virtual mode of our FTP program. I would like to sincerely convey our gratitude to you through this session, sir, and we look forward to your follow-up session on Saturday. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And this is for the attention of the participants. The feedback link is shared in the chat group. Kindly take time to fill it, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
So may I leave now?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you.
Sir.